Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Islamic Defense Podcast. If your country's map looks something like this instead of this, then you probably should have seen this video 10 or 20 years ago. Now, in case your country map do not look like this, then let me explain why some Hindu extremists want to change your country's map in order to make it look like that. Now, if you live in Pakistan or Bangladesh, you may be shocked to hear, but many leaders of the BJP government of India actually wants to take over your country. What, you don't believe me? Take a look.
Many years ago, I had the opportunity to visit the RSS headquarters in Nagpur in India. And when I went there, I saw this massive map on the wall which showed India, but no Pakistan and no Bangladesh. And I believe that's what's called Akhand Bharat. Undivided India in some circles, Hindu national circles. Is that what you want to see one day? India restored, undivided, Bangladesh, Pakistan gone from the map?
The RSS still believes that one day these parts which have for historical reasons separated only 60 years ago will again through popular goodwill come together and Akhand Bharat will be created.
Wow.
The RSS believes in that. As an RSS member, I also hold on to that view.
So in honor of these wannabe invaders, today's video is going to be a bit different. For the last couple of years, we've all noticed a rise in Hindu extremism in India. There have been many incidents where Muslims have been killed for eating meat, Muslim girls have been raped, and discrimination against minorities overall have increased. Recently, India has broken their Article 370 with Kashmir. They're taking over Kashmir using force. This is the first step of their plan. Many of our Muslim brothers and sisters in Kashmir right now are trapped because of the curfew. They can probably celebrate Eid as a result of this. There have been many evidences of torture and shootings by the Indian forces as well. Which is why I'm starting this video series in order to refute the root of the problem, which is Hindu extremism. Now, however, if you're a Hindu who do not hate Muslims or Islam, then this video is not for you. Turn it off or watch something else. However, if you are an Islamophobe, Hindu extremist, then this video is just for you. So, inshallah, today we will discuss the scientific and logical errors in Hinduism. So, let's get started. Mountains had wings. So, there's a story in Valmiki Ramayana in 5.1.123 to 5 verse number and in Srimad Bhagavatam 8.11.34, where it says that once upon a time, apparently, mountains had wings. They were flying like pigeons, apparently. They went in all directions. However, when one of the Hindu gods, Indra, realized that the mountains might fall on people, he decided to cut off their wings with a thunderbolt. Now, this makes no sense. I mean, if the Hindu gods are just gonna cut their wings, then why give them wings in the first place? For what? Like less traffic? I mean, what was the point? I mean, it's not like the mountains go anywhere. I mean, forget about the scientific absurdities of Earth operating with flying mountains. The bigger problem here is the fallacy of inconsistency. This verse of Ramayana and Srimad shows us that these so-called Hindu gods cannot be gods because they have no idea what the hell they're doing. So according to Hindu mythology, everything is created by Brahma, this guy with 4 heads. So there are 3 main gods in Hinduism. They are called the Trimurti. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the preserver, and Shiva is the destroyer. You can learn more from the books of Henrik Zimmer, who is a scholar of Indian philosophy. Now, this Brahma is all-powerful and knowledgeable since he created everything. Then how come he didn't know that the wings of the mountains would cause problems? Or that it would need to be cut off? I mean, in Hinduism, he is also known as the god of knowledge, or Gaineshwar. You can read about it in David Leeming's book, A Creation Myth of the World, 2nd edition. And if he really is the God of knowledge and he knows everything, then how come he didn't know that giving wings to mountains is a bad idea? Either he's a God of knowledge who knows everything or not. I mean, this is a complete contradiction. Brahma cannot be a God of creation and then make a mistake in creation. You know, I mean, he cannot be a God of knowledge and then not know that the wings of mountains would cause problems. And also, let's say for the sake of argument that he is not God of knowledge or creation and he didn't know. Then why couldn't Indra just tell him that, hey dude, maybe giving wings to mountains is a bad idea? I mean, either way, as you can clearly see, Brahma here made a mistake by giving wings to mountains. Therefore, he cannot be God, because gods don't make mistakes. It also shows us that these ancient Hindu texts are either corrupted or man-made. This proves that they are not divine, and this proves that Hinduism is a false religion. Also, this is not an avatar situation here either. He didn't come down on earth in a human form and then made a mistake. He made a mistake in his God form, according to the text, which means he's not a god, and Hindu religious texts are not divine, since they contradict one another, which means Hinduism is false. And if the earth had flying mountains, we would probably have massive earthquakes, and nothing would survive. However, I digress. Number 2. Gold came from Shiva masturbating. Now, we all know that gold on earth came from dead stars, but not according to Hinduism. According to Hinduism, gold on earth came from Shiva masturbating. Shiva, the god of destruction, there's a story about him in the Srimad Bhagavatam 8:12:32-33, where it says that Shiva and his wife was talking to Vishnu, another god from Hinduism. So they were talking, and then Vishnu told them that he has the power to change his form into a woman. Basically, it's kind of like a sexy jutsu. In case you don't know, it's a jutsu that this anime character Naruto uses to fool people. But anyway, so he has the power to change his form into a woman, to transform into a woman. Then all the other gods were excited and said, "Please show us this power of yours." So Vishnu disappeared. Then far away in the jungle, Shiva saw a beautiful woman. And by the way, fun fact, the woman's description in Srimad Bhagavatam is quite interesting. She was apparently playing with a ball. Here is an example of her description in the book. In SB 8:12-19, it says, because the ball was falling down and bouncing up, as she played with it, her breasts trembled. Her breasts trembled, and because of the weight of those breasts and her heavy flower garland, her waist appeared to be all but breaking at every step. I mean, is her waist made of glass? I mean, I don't know, but anyway, as her 2 feet, which were reddish like coral, moved here and there. Now ask yourself, does this sound like a holy book or pornography? I'll let you decide, but let's continue. So while they were looking at her, a wind came, how convenient, and blew away her dress. She was now fully naked. Seeing her naked, Shiva became extremely horny. He was so horny that he completely forgot that his wife was sitting beside him. He started chasing after her. He finally caught her and grabbed her by the hair. She tried to resist him, but he grabbed her by force. Now, I'm not joking, but this so-called Hindu god tried to rape her. She tried really hard and finally got away. Then he started chasing after her. Shiva was so horny that his sperm started leaking on the ground, and the places where his sperm fell are places where you can find gold and silver mines. Then the woman disappeared, and as it turns out, it was actually Vishnu all along. Even though Shiva just tried to rape him, he said that this is the power he used to subdue demons. Then Shiva praised him, and they lived happily ever after. Now, first of all, why on earth would a god of destruction need to get horny for? That serves no purpose for him. Last I checked, the god of creation was Brahma. Yet here we see Shiva creating gold mines. I mean, this is a contradiction. I mean, he can both be god of destruction and god of creation at the same time. And if he is both god of creation and destruction, then why do they need Brahma for? I mean, this makes no sense. It's a contradiction. Also, according to SB 8:12-15, where it says that the reason Vishnu used this form was to trick demons, then why is it working on Shiva? I mean, does this mean that he's a demon? So which one is it? Is he a demon or a god? Again, another contradiction and a fallacy of inconsistency. Now, many people claim Hinduism is a very scientific religion, yet this whole nonsensical story completely contradicts scientific facts. Gold does not come from some guy's sperm, it comes from dying stars. So whoever wrote this book did not know this, therefore it's man-made nonsense. Also, what's worse is that Hinduism actually teaches that rape and sexual assault is okay. This is extremely dangerous because India is considered one of the worst countries in the world for women. And as you can clearly see, their religion probably has a big role to play. Number 3. Semen and blood makes babies. According to Hinduism, a baby is born when semen and blood mixes with each other. In Skanda Purana, 5.159.33-53, there's a story which says a baby is born when a semen mixes with blood. This is a scientific error. Semen contains millions of sperms, and a woman only becomes pregnant when a sperm enters egg of the female, and not when entire semen mixes with the blood. Every Purana which talks about embryology says that woman becomes pregnant after her blood mixes with semen, which is a scientific error and a contradiction. Number 4. Bones are made of fat. Now, we all know that bones are made from certain cells in our body known as osteoblasts or osteoclasts. When these cells start to work together, new bone starts to form. As we grow, certain bones starts to fuse together and become a single bone. However, not according to Hinduism. As a matter of fact, Hinduism claims that bones are made from fat. In Brahma Puranas, chapter 17, verse number 49, it says that fat is produced from flesh, bone is produced from fat, marrow is generated from bone, and semen is produced from marrow. So as you can see, Hinduism doesn't only say bones are made from fat, it also says semen comes from the bone marrow. This is another scientific error. Semen does not come from bone marrow, it comes from the penis and not the bone marrow. Looks like this author of Purana didn't know this, and therefore it's a man-made mistake and this book cannot be divine. Number 5. Babies without sex. Now you think that wasn't bad enough? Well, according to Hinduism, in ancient times, apparently people could have babies without sex. Apparently, back in those days, women could get pregnant just by touching them. I mean, can you imagine? Just a woman just walking by, then you just accidentally bump into them, and boom, she's pregnant. Anyway. So in Mahabharata, 207, 38, from 38 to 40, there's a story which says that sexual congress, O chief of Bharatas, was then not necessary for perpetuating the species. In those days, offsprings were begotten by flat of the will. In the age that followed, Tetra, children were begotten by touch alone. So babies were born just by touching women. Interesting. I always wondered why India is so overpopulated. Now I know. Number 6. You can become pregnant by swallowing semen. Now, we all know that it's not possible to get pregnant by swallowing semen. According to an article by Dr. Deborah Sullivan, it's impossible to become pregnant by swallowing semen. You can only become pregnant if sperm comes into contact with the female eggs. However, Hinduism says otherwise. According to Hinduism, you can become pregnant by swallowing semen. Not only that, It also says that even animals can become pregnant by swallowing semen, if they ever swallow human semen. So in Brahma Vaivatra Purana, Brahma Kanda 20, verse number 33 to 46, there's a story that says, at the time of Makanda or Menaka was passing by the way, at the sight of her thigh and breast, the semen of the saint was discharged. Some saint this guy is. Thereupon the woman Kalavati drank it cheerfully, yike, and went to her husband, bowed to him, and told him everything about her pregnancy. I mean, can you imagine the husband's reaction? The wife is like, hey honey, so I was walking on the street and some guy saw me and got horny. So he immediately ejaculated, and then I drank his semen, and now I'm pregnant. And the husband is like, wow honey, I'm so proud of you. By the way, if you think that's bad, it gets worse. So there's a story in Vishnu Purana 4.2 where a man gets pregnant by drinking sperm water. So there was this king who had no child. So one day the holy priest made a water with sperm and made it ready for the queen. The king woke up in the middle of night and he was thirsty, so he drank the sperm water. Then when the priest woke up and saw that the sperm water had been drunk, they said the queen who drank the water would become pregnant. To their surprise, the king said, but I am the one who drank it. Clearly I won't get pregnant. Then he gets pregnant and gives birth to a son named Mandhatri. So when the Hindu gods heard of this, they were like, oh shit. So the king of the gods, Indra, gave the baby some magic milk from heaven, and the boy became 12 in 12 days. I mean, who needs Horlicks or Nido when you have heaven milk? Now, we all know that animals can get pregnant by humans. There are receptors on the surface of sperm that can complement receptors on the ovum. So if the receptors in the sperm cannot complement receptors on the ovum, the fertilization will not occur. In addition, animals originating from different species could not breed with each other. Due to the difference in sperm, all sperm of those receptors can only recognize human ovum cells from human. Animal sperms and vice versa cannot be impregnated by humans. Besides, genetic makeup of one species with another distinct species cannot produce offspring. So the answer to the question is, of course, human sperm cannot get animals pregnant. But this fact was unknown by the Hindus. So as a result, you will find this nonsense in their book. In Sikanda Purana 3 verse number 19.65, it says, after drinking the semen of sage Vivekanda together with water, a female deer became pregnant and gave birth to Resangra. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name, but yeah, a deer became pregnant by drinking a man's sperm. Anyway, so there's another story in Mahabharata 1.3.17 where it says, the rishi thus answered Janamejaya, "O Janamejaya, this is my son, deep in aesthetic devotions, accomplished in the study of the Vedas, and endured with the full force of my ecstatism, is born of the womb of a she-snake that had drunk my semen." There's a lot of semen drinking going on in the Vedas and the Mahabharatas, but it gets weirder. Number 7 layers of the skin. Now, we have all learned in school that human skin has 3 layers: epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. However, not according to Hinduism. Their holy books thinks that human skin have 7 layers. I wonder where these other 4 layers went. But anyway, so in Agni Purana 350 verse number 40 to 45, it says, the external layers of the skin, together with the one that contains blood, are 7 in number. So there are 7 layers of the skin, which is again a scientific error. Number 8. 7 oceans was created by a king. So according to Hinduism, the 7 oceans were all created by a king. In Srimad Bhagavatam 5.1.31, it says, when Priyavatra drove his chariot behind the sun, the rims of his chariot wheels created impressions, later became 7 oceans, dividing the planetary system known as Bhumandala into 7 islands. So yeah, a guy rode a chariot, and that created the oceans. Brilliant. Now, does that mean that at the time of the king there was no ocean on earth? I mean, if that was the case, then how did the humans survive? I mean, we need the ocean for rain and drinking water. Also, the ocean protects the earth from solar radiation and heat. I mean, oceans basically have 2 life-supporting roles. First, they absorb and distribute solar radiation, and without water, harsh rays from the sun would bake the equator while distributing almost no energy to the poles, especially in the winter. However, fortunately for us, water does a great job of absorbing energy, and the ocean regulates temperature around the earth. Currents circulate warm tropical waters to the north and south, and cold water back to the equator, distributing heat energy so that no place gets too hot for life to survive, and warming colder areas. Second, the oceans feed the water cycle. The movement of water from the seas to the air to the clouds, across miles and back again to the sea or to fall on land. In other words, without oceans, we would die. So this king would die as well. So how is he alive? Also, I thought Brahma was the god of creation. So what was he doing? Did he forget to create the oceans, without which we humans can survive? I mean, he needs a human to create oceans for him? Why? I mean, this makes no sense. I mean, this is another contradiction. Either Brahma is the god of creation or not. I mean, you can't say that he's the god of creation and then say he needs other humans to create the ocean for him. I mean, if he's a god, then he won't need humans. And if he needs humans, then he can be God. So which one is it? Is he a god or not? And as you can see, this is a complete contradiction, again proving how Hinduism is a false religion. Number 9. Yep, earth is flat in Hinduism. So the earth is flat according to Hinduism. In Rig Veda 10:58-3, it says, thy spirit that went far away to the 4-cornered earth. So the earth has 4 corners, just like the Bible. And Shatapadhara Brahman 6:1-2:29, it says, now this earth is 4-cornered, for the quarters are her corners, hence the bricks are 4-cornered. For all the bricks are after the manner of this earth. So, according to this holy book, this holy Hindu book, the earth is 4-cornered, which means it's flat, and it's basically like a brick. How fun. So, Ramayana also says the same thing. Valmiki Ramayana 5:9-26, it says, the floor was covered by carpet, wide and 4-cornered like the earth, which means earth is 4-cornered. Hari Prasad Shastri, a Hindu scholar, writes in his footnote that 4-cornered, the ancient Hindu belief was that earth was 4-cornered, which means flat. The Ramayana of Valmiki, translated by Hari Prasad Shastri, Shanti's Sandan 29, you can read it there. And another Hindu scholar, Amin Dutt, writes in his footnote that 4-cornered earth in Hindu cosmology is a flat surface having 4 corners. So their scholars are confirming this. However, some Hindu holy books contradicts this. They say, no, the earth is not flat, it is actually shaped like a lotus. So in Vishnu Purana, chapter number 2, verse 12, it says that from the waters, which are the body of Vishnu, was produced the lotus-shaped earth, which means earth is shaped like a lotus, with its seas and mountains. Vayu Purana 1:34-44, it says, The lotus was fashioned by Vishnu, grew from his umbilicus. The earth, along with the forest and trees, was evolved in the shape of a lotus, which means earth was in the shape of a lotus. Srimad Bhagavatam also describes the planetary system or the earth as a lotus-shaped Jambudvipa, which is supposed to where we live, in the shape of a leaf or a lotus flower. So again, the earth is in the shape of a lotus flower. As Srimad Bhagavatam 5.16.5, it says that the planetary system known as Bhumandala resembles a lotus flower, and 7 island resembles the whole of the flower. The length and breadth of the island known as Jambudva, which is situated in the middle of the whole, are 1 million yojanas, 8 million miles. Jambudva is round like the leaf of a lotus flower. Now, some translates a word like Gao, Bhumandala as globe, which is misleading because they try to insert their own definitions. While according to Hinduism, the earth is four-cornered, lotus-shaped, and flat. Number 10. The earth doesn't move. According to Hinduism, the earth doesn't move. In Mahabharata 13:62-2, it says, earth is immovable and indestructible. Mahabharata 5.76.7-8, it says, behold, O Krishna, the firmament and the earth, which are immovable, immense and infinite, and which are the refuge of, in which case are born these countless creatures. So it says the earth is immovable. Vayu Purana 135:11, it says, and also Linga Purana 49.25b to 27, it says, Meru has 4 great ranges, legs in all the 4 quarters, held by them the earth with her 7 continents, which does not move. So the earth is not only flat, it also doesn't move. And it also is shaped like a lotus. Now, Brahma Vaivarta Purana Krishna Jammukanda 87:99-104, there's a story where the verses say, Vrinda, so saying, remained there like the immovable earth, which means earth is immovable. Artava Veda 6:44-1, it says, the heavens have stood still, the earth has stood still, all creatures have stood still, the trees that sleep erect have stood still. May this disease of thine stand still. So as you can see, everything is standing still according to Hindu cosmology. The heavens are standing still, the earth is standing still, so, which is a contradiction to science. Number 11. The sun revolves around the earth. Yes, the Hindu holy book says the sun revolves around the earth. According to Brahmanda Purana 1:2:21:87-88, it says, every day the sun traverses those zones in due order, just as the outer rim of the potter's wheel comes back quickly as it revolves. So also the sun functions quickly during his southern transit, hence he traverses a major portion of the earth in the course of a short period. Also in Brahmanda Purana 2:23:44-45, it says, thus the sun traversed the quarter by means of his swift chariot with one wheel. The horse are splendid, but they do not have the usual place in the course of a day and night. The sun traverses the earth consisting of 7 continents and oceans by means of his chariot with single wheel, which means the sun is being pulled by some chariot and they are going in circles around the earth. Interesting. Now, also in Matsya Purana 126:41-46, it says, the sun in course of one single day and night goes swiftly over the world consisting of 7 oceans and 7 islands. So the world only has 7 islands. Just think about that for a moment. But anyway, so sitting in his one-wheeled chariot and drawn by 7 horses, the 7 horses yoked the sun's chariot are not other than the 7 chandas mitris. They can assume forms at their will. They go as they like. So basically, there's a chariot that's pulling the sun, and they're going on rounds and rounds over the earth. In other words, the sun is making rounds around the earth, and the earth is stationary, and the sun is going around it. It doesn't get any more clearer than this. So yeah, and like I said, in number 12 would be a horse pulls the sun. So according to Hinduism, the sun is being pulled by 7 horses. In Rig Veda 115.8 and 151, it says, "O bright sun, a chariot named Harith with 7 horses takes you to sky." Oh, how fun, how brilliant that is. The sun is being taken on a joyride. Anyway, also in Mahabharata book number 13, 158, verse number 20 to 22, it says, "The sun possessed of 1,000 rays, he it is that constitutes the wheel of the year, having 3 naves and 7 horses to drag it. He is the sun, the dispeller of the darkness." So this guy is pulling the sun using his horses. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:21, 12 to 19, it says, "Thus the chariot of the sun god, which is Tremaya, or worshipped by the worlds, Om Bhar Bhubashva, travels through the 4 residents." Now one can argue that it's an invisible horse. Fine, no problem. But then why is an all-powerful God needed a horse to pull the sun? Can't he pull himself? Is he not powerful enough? If he's not powerful enough, then how can he be God? It's like his one job. If it was a normal place, he would be fired. Anyway, so it seems like his horses are more powerful than him. So shouldn't people worship his horses then? How is he a god if his horses are more powerful than him? It makes no sense. Anyway, so this whole thing is a contradiction, and it's complete nonsense. It makes no sense. Anyway, and also, why can't he have someone else to pull the sun? Why does he need a chariot? Again, doesn't make any sense. Number 13, moon has water. So, in case you didn't know, but moon has water according to Hinduism. Elon Musk would flip if he knew that, if he had read the Hindu holy books. So, according to their holy books, the moon has water. In Vaya Purana, 53 to 57, it says, "The orb of the moon is of solid water, and the orb of the sun is of solid refulgence." So the moon is made of water, according to Hinduism. The Vaya Purana 53, 84 to 86, it says, "Thus the abode of the resident deities are mentioned. The abode of the 1,000-rayed suns is full of fire and sparkling, and the abode of 1,000-rayed moon is full of water and sparkling white. The abode of a 5-rayed charming planet, Buddha, is dark in color." By the way, I don't know which planet is dark in color, but anyway, so the writers of the Puranas were probably sniffing some cocaine when they wrote this and saw some water on the moon. Guys, this is why you shouldn't do drugs. Anyway, let's continue. So 14, the moon is bigger than the sun. So that's right, kids, the moon is bigger than the sun in Hinduism. In Brahmanda Purana, I2 21:8, it says, "In diameter as well as girth, the moon is twice as much as the sun." Sorry. So God. Anyway, so in Vayu Purana 53:61 to 62, it says the diameter of the sun is 9,000 yojanas, and the girth of sun is 3 meters in diameter. The width of the moon is twice that of the sun. So the moon is bigger than the sun. Oh God! And I wish I was hallucinating when I'm reading this, but this is real. This is anyway. So in Vaya Purana, it also says I-1563. The extent of the sun is 9,000 yojanas. Yojana is a distance, by the way. It's a way the Hindu priests, or in Hinduism, basically, it's a way to measure the distance. I think one yojana is like 8 miles or something like that. But anyway, so the girth or the extent of its disk is thrice its diameter. The lunar disk is twice that of the solar disk, which means the moon is bigger than the sun. Anyway, this religion, man. Anyway, so number 15, Earth is being held up by elephants. That's right, kids. You thought that was it? Oh no. The Earth is apparently being held by elephants. So according to Hinduism, the Earth is being held up by elephants. When this elephant moves, earthquake happens. That's right. In Valmiki Ramayana 1:14-13 to 22, it says, while digging the earth, by the way, I don't know why on earth whoever is digging the earth for, but anyway, so in the story it says they dig so deep that they found deep underneath that the mountains is similarly held up by elephants, or the earth is being held up by elephants named oh my God, I'm gonna butcher this name. Virupakash, which is bearing the eastern side of Earth's surface on its head. O Rama, the Lakti of Rahu, the great elderly elephant, Virupakasha is bearing the entire eastern Earth along with its mountains and forests on its head. On a certain occasion, O Rama of Kutusta, when the great elephant moves its head, desiring respite and in tiresomeness, the earthquake will occur on earth. So basically, the earth is being held up by elephants, and whenever the elephants move their head, earthquake happens. That's right. All those geologists are all wrong. Earthquake doesn't happen because of tectonic plates. It happens because of the invisible elephants that are holding it up. Or not even invisible. They're quite visible because this guy can see it. So yeah. And a 6th century Indian astronomer named Vara Mihara also writes about this in his book Brista Mashita 32.1, where it says, some hold that an earthquake is caused by huge animals living in the midst of the ocean. So apparently these elephants not only is holding up the earth, they also live in the ocean, because the elephants have apparently become sea creatures now. I mean, like, I don't know, like, are they like kind of like Aquaman animals? Like, why are they underwater? I mean, elephants underwater? So according to Hinduism, elephants are now fish. Anyway, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my mind reading this, making this video about this book. But anyway, let's continue. While others, let's continue. Hinduism also contradicts itself by saying that no, actually the earth is being held up by a snake. In Vishnu Purana 2.5, it says there is a snake called Shisha, and this Shisha is holding up the entire world like a diadem upon its head, and it is the foundation of the Pilpatas or the rest. So yeah, the whole world is being held up by a snake. In Shiva Purana, it says the earthquake happens when the snake stretches itself. In Shiva Purana, Uma Shamhita 5, chapter 15, verse number 18 to 21, it says, holding the spear of the earth on his back, Shisha, the lord of Bhutas, stands at the root of Patala. He is worshipped for his endless attributes. The power of his fertility cannot be adequately described even by his ambitious gods, nor can his form be known. And yet we know that he's a snake. So did this guy not read his own book? Because in other Puranas it says that he's a snake, yet he's saying that his form cannot be described. It's a contradiction. So which one is it? Is he a snake, or is his form cannot be described? Again, another contradiction. But anyway, let's continue. Number 16, the earth is on water. That's like everybody. The earth is on water according to Hinduism. Like Titanic. It's funny because the scientists are spending so much money trying to find water on other planets, but the Hindu gods found water under earth so long ago. Not just that, the earth was apparently sinking like the Titanic, and the Hindu gods, or one of the Hindu gods' avatar of the avatar of Vishnu, Vahara, saved the earth from sinking on the water. So according to Shiva Purana, via Shamhita 7 section I 1:11:31, it says, then he lifted the earth, sunk underwater, and held it on his curved fangs. He rose up from the netherworlds. So he saved the world from drowning by holding it up. In Harivamasha Purana 3:35:1, it says, the earth which was installed on top surface of water body did not sink like a huge ship due to its vast body, which is a contradiction to what I just read, because in Shiva Purana it says that the earth sunk underwater, and yet in Harivamasha Purana it says that it can sink. So which one is it? Did the earth sink or did it not sink? This is another contradiction. Anyway, let's continue. So in Vayu Purana it says, waters lie within the earth, and the earth is established over waters. The sky is above, and the earth is below it. And again, water is underneath it, which means the earth is floating on water, and over the earth there is the sky. In Brahmanda Purana 1:5-10, it says, on seeing that the earth had sunk into the water, he brought what form shall I assume and uplift the earth. This is Vishnu thinking. So Vishnu took the form of a boar and picked up the earth from sinking into water. Again, this is here. Now it's saying that Vishnu picked up the earth, but before it said that the earth cannot sink. So again, another contradiction. Another contradiction is that it says the earth is being held up by Vishnu as a snake, and yet in another one of the verses that I read, we see that Vishnu is apparently Vishnu saved the earth from sinking by taking the form of a boar. So which one is it? Is he a boar or is he a snake? Because he can be both. So this is another contradiction. So anyway, let's continue. 17. Distance between earth and the sun. The Hinduism also has some absurd distance measures. So in one verse in Brahma Purana 21:5-9, it says, O Brahmins, the disk of the sun is stationed 100,000 yojanas away from the earth, and the disk of the moon is stationed 100,000 yojanas away from the sun. Now let's do some calculations. Yojana is a Vedic distance. One yojana is about 12 to 15 kilometers, which is more or less 8 or 9 miles. Let's say that it's 8 miles. So if the sun is 100,000 yojanas away from Earth, then the sun is 800,000 miles away from Earth. However, according to NASA, the sun is 92 million miles away. Anyway, so then if the moon is 100,000 yojanas away from the sun, and the sun is 100,000 yojanas away from the moon, then the moon is 200,000 yojanas away from the earth, which means the moon is 200,000 into 8 equal 1.6 million miles away. However, according to NASA, the distance between earth and moon is 238,000 miles away from earth, which is a lot less far away. So, I don't know, like, is the Hubble telescope malfunctioning or what? Like, how can they miss this? That the sun is this close? Anyway. Number 18. Winds in space. That's right, people. You thought that there are no winds in space? Well, think again. You know, it's funny because you know how mad people got at Star Wars The Last Jedi because they showed that there are gravity in space and sound in space. Well, if people knew that about these Hindu scriptures, they would be giving Ryan Johnson a Nobel Prize. So, according to Hinduism, there is air in space. As a matter of fact, apparently, the wind comes from the sun and travels all over and goes back to the sun. So, according to Vaya Purana 51-53, it says the wind starts from the planet's sun and traverses the entire stellar zone. At the end of the day, it enters the sun encompassed by Durva. So basically the wind starts from the sun, then it goes all over the planet, including the earth. That's where the wind comes from. And then after it makes its round, it goes back to the sun. How fun. Number 19, the moon is apparently swimming in the water. So according to Hinduism, the moon goes for a swim in the water. In Vishnu Purana 2:12, it says, once the period is termed Amavasya, in that orbit, the moon is immersed for a day and night in the water. So it stays in water for a day and a night. Thence it enters the branches and shoots of the trees, and thence goes to the sun. So basically, the moon goes into the water for a nap, then it comes up from trees and goes up in the sky. I mean, I wonder, like, what were they smoking when they wrote this? You know? Anyway, let's continue. So, number 20 is solar eclipse caused by demons. So, according to Hinduism, solar eclipse happens because a demon covers it. Maybe because it's cold, who knows. Anyway, Rig Veda 5:5-6, it says that the sun gets covered by a demon, and that's why the solar eclipse happens. Number 21. The sky is held up by pillars. So according to Hinduism, the sky is held up by pillars. Rig Veda 6:72 verse number 2, it says, O Lord of the resplendence and bliss, you bestow your light to the dawns. You restore your light to the dawns. You uprise the sun with his splendors. You prop up the sky with the supporting pillars of firmament. You spread out the earth, the mother of all. So basically the earth is being held up by pillars. And it is also repeated in Rig Veda 6:47-5, where it says, this very same elixir his devotional love finds the wavy sea of brilliant colors in forefront of the dawns, whose dwelling is in firmament. This might exuller sustains the heaven up with a mighty pillar. So the heavens are being held up by a pillar. Anyway. And I wonder where these pillars went. I mean, anyway, so that's it for now. See, ancient religions like this have lost their appeal in modern times. And for a good reason. The truth is, they make no sense, whether it's Greek mythology or Hindu mythology or Norse mythology. The thing is that you can't have more than one God, because in order to create our existence, our God has to be completely unique and nothing like his creation, because he is outside of his creation, so he has to be different. I mean, let me put it to you in a simple way. If a poet writes a poem, will his poem be anything like him in nature? Of course not. The poem doesn't need to eat, breathe, go to the toilet, etc. However, the poet does. So there will always be a fundamental difference between a creator and a creation, you know. And this is why our existence cannot come from someone who is like us in nature. Which is why the concept of God in Islam makes sense, because he is nothing like us. He doesn't need to eat, sleep, etc. However, in Hinduism, the Hindu gods, as you can see, are just like us. They make mistakes, they get married, have sex, and according to some Puranas, they even try to rape other gods. They go to war, etc., etc. These are all human things, which is why they cannot be gods. You know, I know many Hindus are nice people, and however, recently with the rise of right-wing extremism and the rapid Islamophobia from extremist Hindus, it has led me to make this video. And it's really sad what is happening in Kashmir. The BJP and the Hindu right-wing nationalism is a serious threat for everyone, even the Hindus. These people want an Akhanda Bharat or Akhanda Bharat, which means that an undivided India from Afghanistan to Myanmar. They want to make sure Pakistan and Bangladesh, two sovereign nations by the way, completely wiped off the map. They want to make sure that my country, Bangladesh, is part of India. Now, this makes them just as dangerous as ISIS or the Nazis. The scary part is that they have already started the plan. They have gotten rid of Article 370 and made sure that Kashmir is now theirs. However, as long as we Muslims in this region draw breath, inshallah we will not let this happen. I stand with my brothers from Kashmir. And with that, I will end the video. More videos on Hinduism will come, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.